Welcome back to another episode of the Head to Head podcast, brought to you by Helaman and Cole. This is a very exciting episode. Lots of moves have been made. As of recording this episode, we're recording this on the 11th of March. Um, we have a lot to talk about. Crosby's falling through and pivoting to Hendrickson and how his cancellation affects really the league and how people have spent their money already. Um, we're following
Oh,
we're running a Falcons
well,
did run it back, run it back. No, run it back, run it back. We'll
oh,
we'll
okay.
yeah, randomize again. Oh, you just got the
I'll take Tampa.
you just got the Bucks. Okay, back to back. But we can start. We're following along with CBS Sports and how they're tracking every move for every team. So if you want to kick it off, Cole, with the Cardinals, we're just
Yeah,
gonna cover like the major moves, not like every single signing, not like vet minimums, retaining punters and stuff like that. But yeah, if you want to go ahead.
yeah. Well, we'll start off with the Arizona Cardinals, like you said. They have signed offensive guard Isaac. I am bad with these names. We know this. I think his last name is Seumalo. Seumalo.
Yeah, that sounds
They
good.
signed him to a 3-year deal. They signed running back Tyler Algier. That was one that a lot of people had their eyes on where he was gonna go. Everything's still up in the air with James Conner, so that's going to be a little bit of a. They're going to have to figure out what's going on with their running back room. They signed defensive lineman Roy Lopez, wide receiver Kendrick Bourne, and they pick up quarterback Gardner Minshew for 5 million there to end off their free agency period. Thoughts? What are you thinking, Hillman?
I really liked Isaac signing. I thought that he was one of the better guards left on the market. I really wish that he had gone to a team that was more like gonna contend. Um, but I think he is a good player and one of the best interior offensive linemen left in the league for free agency. So I thought that was a great signing, bringing him back, getting a little bit more continuity in the offensive line. That's one of the harder units to keep continuity at. Um, Especially as important as a unit that is. So I thought that was a great signing. But Tyler Algier really just didn't make any sense to me, and I don't think it made sense to a lot of other fans. Like
Yeah, I mean,
he's already competing with James Conner now. He's coming off of an injury, and so is Trey Benson. So maybe the pathway's a little bit more open than we think. But um, I just didn't
yeah,
understand that.
my my biggest takeaway was also this Tyler Algier signing. I was very excited to see where Tyler Algier would go. I thought that he had opportunity to take on a bell cow role somewhere and kind of be the guy that he was for the Falcons in his rookie season. He's a 1,000 yard rusher, kind of a surprise coming out of the draft. I believe he was a fifth round pick, and now he's competing in a pretty competent running back room. James Conner's obviously old, and I'm pretty sure it's still kind of up in the air where he's going to be next year. I think I can't remember if he's a restricted free agent or unrestricted free agent, but he hasn't re-signed with the Cardinals. Although I know they've publicly said they're planning on re-signing him. He still hasn't done it. I don't know if he's going to get a lot of interest on the open market if he hits it, just because of the injuries and things like that. So I was hoping that Trey Benson would get the runway. I thought that like this year upcoming, Trey Benson would get the runway. And it doesn't seem like the Arizona Cardinals are feeling that way. It looks like they might be a little bit more on the Tyler Algier side of things. So kind of frustrating.
Yeah, I agree. But they also got Kendrick Bourne, which I think is a solid signing. Can be good in that wide receiving room, especially when they don't. Well, I mean, I guess with Michael Wilson, maybe they do have a number one out wide, but um, good for competition in that wide receiving room that looks a little lackluster. Aside from Michael Wilson and Trey McBride, so I thought that was also a pretty good signing.
Yeah,
Gardner
I think
Minshew, good backup as
this is going to
well.
be a solid wide receiver core.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I don't think they'll be a dark horse like they were this year coming into the league into the season, but Gardner Minshew is one of the better backups left in the market as well. So I thought that was a good signing just for depth. Who knows if Jacoby Brissett can keep up the production that he had, at least numbers wise. So yeah, all in all,
Yeah,
not a bad free agency so far.
yeah. We can go ahead and move on. I think up next we have the Atlanta Falcons, who I would say has had a pretty solid free agency. Helaman, what's been your favorite move from the Falcons so far?
Definitely not Tua Tagovailoa. But I mean. They had to get a replacement for James Pierce Jr. and they went out and got Cameron Thomas on a 1-year deal, $31 million. So I mean, it's a position of need, and I think that's my favorite so far. They also um, bolstered up their wide receiver room as well, and Jahan Dotson and Zacchaeus Olamide.
Mhm.
So,
Alamide or something like that. Yeah.
but yeah, definitely
Yeah.
the Cameron Thomas move I think is the best so far for them.
Yeah. I One of the things that the CBS Sports article that we're kind of taking our notes from doesn't really mention is the people that got lost in free agency, like who wasn't retained. One of those guys was Caden Ellis, so they are now in
Mhm.
need of
Yep.
a defensive tackle, and that is something that I would love to see them kind of address. They have signed Chris Williams, and I'm assuming that they kind of expected this coming from Caden Ellis, going to a new team. We'll get to him a little bit later. He had a probably one of his best years of his career this year in Atlanta, so filling that gap is going to be difficult for a defense that kind of took that next step this year. But I do love the signing from by Cam Thomas. I think that Jahan Dotson is going to be a solid piece for that offense. I don't think there's really a way to spin the Tua thing. He is, yeah, I mean, everybody's justifying it with the left-handed stuff and like they're not going to have to change the
Yeah.
offense. And I think that is a legit thing, but Tua has no real place to be a solid starting receiver or starting quarterback in this league anymore. I don't think there's very many teams that he can start on. I think Michael Penix will get that job back kind of without question if he comes off that injury good. But yeah, overall, I think it's been a solid free agency. They get Kyle Pitts on the franchise tag. I think that receiving core is going to be great. You get B. John unleashed with Tyler Algier going to
Yep.
Arizona. I think
Yep.
that that's just going to be absolutely insane to
Yep.
watch. Bijan with getting those goal line touches is going to be. I mean, I'm thinking. I guess I would say I'm thinking in fantasy perspective. All those goal line touches coming back to him is going to be nice to have. If I have him on my fantasy team next year, I traded him away in dynasty. But um, it's gonna be a crazy season for Arizona, and we don't know what's going on with James Pierce still. We haven't gotten any word on that. I thought that we might get something, here in this free agency period, maybe with about what his trial was going on and things like that, but we haven't yet. So yeah, I think a solid free agency for the Cardinals.
I will say that Tua also has historically performed well when he has great weapons, and I think that this is another great situation. He's coming in with literally no pressure. Um, I mean, no expectations. They're definitely a playoff
Mhm.
hopeful, but I mean, in terms of like expectations, he's coming in competing for a job with an injury prone
Mhm.
quarterback. So he can really only go up if he can get a little bit of production.
Yeah. I believe he'll be playing in a dome too, and I know
Yep.
that
Yep.
historically Tua is much better in the dome, so maybe we get a little bit of vintage Tua to start off the year next year, and
Vintage Tua.
like
Vintage.
Alabama Tua at this point
Oh
is what we're
yeah.
hoping for.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll move on to probably one of the more exciting ones so far this
Phew.
offseason, this free agency period. We have the Buffalo Bills. Um, they traded for wide receiver DJ Moore. Obviously, that's been their big move of the offseason. They trade away 4 picks to get DJ Moore. I think they paid a little much for someone who's so old and is coming towards possibly an end to their career. Um, yeah, I'm not exactly sure. He's obviously stepping in to the Buffalo Bills wide receiver core as the number one there. No one's.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any doubt about that. Keon Coleman and Khalil Shakir aren't taking that role for him. But it almost feels like to me that they were like they're trying to show to everyone like, okay, we're really taking this wide receiver one thing seriously.
Mhm.
But then they just done it on like the most minuscule scale possible. Like, yeah, we're taking it seriously, but not really at the same time. And so I would have liked for this to be somebody else. I think that DJ Moore will be fine for them. I think he can maybe do a little bit of what Stephon Diggs was doing for them a couple years back and kind of be that um, have that type of role in the offense as far as production goes. Yeah, what do you think?
I mean, DJ Moore move aside, they kept I think a really good retaining in Connor McGovern, their center, who is also one of the last few good interior offensive linemen who I thought the Seahawks were going to make a push for, but they paid him for 52 million 4 years, so that's kind of hard money to compete with after
Yep.
all the extensions they've got to make. But um, they're definitely gearing up. It'll be exciting to see what they do in the draft. What a throw! That's a great throw. But they also kept Dawson Knox, which is a great depth piece
Yep.
in the tight end department as well. So they also short up their DBs and D Alford. So they're making right moves for a contending team. We'll see if it can all click together. I mean, I would love to see Buffalo make a
Yeah. I
legitimate
would love
push.
to see them go deep, man.
So
Um,
they're doing all the
I
right
I
things so far.
I was a big fan of the Dawson Knox move. Whenever he got drafted to Buffalo, I thought there's a play early on in his rookie season where he just like runs over three guys on the boundary,
Yep,
and I kind of fell in love with him
yep,
from that. And so I kind of keep tabs on him, even though he's not even really the main tight end on his team anymore. They have Dalton Kincaid there. I like that signing. He's a good depth piece for them there in Buffalo. We
yeah.
got the Carolina Panthers
We
coming up
skipped
next.
we skipped
Lots
over
of
one. We
did
skipped
we?
over one. Yeah, one really important one. The Ravens were above the Baltimore,
Oh,
above the Bills for me on the website.
yep, you are absolutely correct. I skipped right
Okay,
over them.
okay, that's where I thought you were going with it.
Yeah, I'll let you take over. I forgot him, so
I mean, Max Crosby's physical falls through, and the trade that basically everybody in the league was altering their team on, thinking that the Ravens had
yep,
signed him and traded him for. I mean, the Cowboys knew that he had some physical stuff going on, so they stopped pursuing him. Um, and now the Raiders are in such a weird spot where they thought they had to spend all this money because of the salary cap floor, and now they are going to be in a really sticky situation when it comes to how much money they have to spend, or how much they have left to
yep,
spend. Um, but on the Ravens side of things, they've let 9 free agents walk. Half of them have gone back with Harbaugh. Half of them have left to go elsewhere, and now they've pivoted in the edge market to Trey Hendrickson, 4 years, 112 million. So I mean, in terms of like how good Trey Hendrickson is, if you're a Ravens fan, you should be excited. He's a great
yep,
player, but he also has knee problems. Um, it just feels like a consolation prize for the Ravens. Like you had
yeah,
this
absolutely.
serious game wrecker in Maxx Crosby, and everybody's claiming you as Super Bowl favorites before the draft has even happened. And now, now what? You got to settle for Trey Hendrickson. He's still great, but not Maxx Crosby great.
Yeah, and this genuinely feels like, and I think it's important to note that that Max Crosby's agent come out and said that he is ahead of schedule on his recovery. I know that whenever the season ended, it was immediately noted that there was some interest between the Ravens and Trey Hendrickson. I honestly think what this is the Ravens felt like they might be. Oh my gosh, Mike Evans
How
picked
did
that up.
he?
Holy
How did he
cow!
pick that up? Oh
But
my
I honestly
goodness.
think that this was the Ravens. Like, I think they might have been a little on edge with this trade, and Trey Hendrickson comes out and shows interest again, maybe after this trade is announced, and is asking for a little bit less money than they expect to pay Crosby, and so they try and find a way to get out of the trade, and they sign Trey Hendrickson. I think this was maybe a little bit of a cop out, maybe the Ravens being a little cheap here.
Yeah, I agree. And I also heard, I don't know how true this is, but I've heard that um, the Ravens knew about the knee problems or
Yeah,
the what could
absolutely.
have happened. Like the Raiders, it's not like they were trying to hide it. It's just like they knew about it. They paid the price,
Mhm.
but it wasn't legal yet. And it's just, I don't know, man. If I'm a Ravens
It's a
fan,
big
I'm in
mess.
shambles right now. I'm really
Yeah,
sad if I'm a Ravens
I
fan.
think it's a bad light on the Ravens organization. I think that it put a sour taste in a lot of mouths, especially the Raiders, obviously. There's a lot of GMs who've come out anonymously and said, some colorful words
Yeah,
about,
yeah,
how everything went down. And I don't know, I kind of share that sentiment. I think that, and obviously I guess legally this trade was not able to happen until, about 20 minutes ago, as of us recording. I think the
Mm,
league year started at 4 p.m. Um, but they did agree to terms on it, and like you said, they were aware of the knee issue, and they were aware that he's. I would assume his agent was the one that is helping negotiate this trade between the two teams, or at least the Raiders are saying, "Hey, Ravens are the highest bidder here. Like you can contact them with whatever." And so, I don't know. It just if the Ravens agreed to it and they were already aware of all this stuff, it just kind of puts a sour taste in your mouth.
yeah, and outside of the Crosby and Hendrickson debacle, they re-signed John Simpson, who used to be a Raven, went on to become a Jet, and now is back with the Ravens. And this was where I was talking about Samalo from the Cardinals. I thought that he was a much better player than John Simpson. I feel like John Simpson was just very average player, average name as well, just very bland name. But 3 years, 30 mil for the reunion. Definitely an upgrade over like Falele, who, if you're a Ravens fan, you can't stand that guy. But I just, yeah, all that money and all this, it's just Eric DeCosta's job might be being called for here soon. I will say Tyler Huntley, really good backup quarterback.
Yep.
Kept him and Chidobe Awuzie. So
I like Owuzie a lot. I'm
I
glad
do
that they were
too.
able to retain him.
I agree, but man, it's just such a mess. I really don't know where they go from here. I mean, because with all that money, they could have kept Linderbaum.
Yeah.
Maybe because it seemed like he wanted to be there, but
Yeah, and
I
they
don't
even
know.
reported they reported originally that they were working on a record-setting offer that would make
Yep,
him the highest paid interior offensive lineman in the NFL. And then they were like, actually,
we're gonna get
we're not
Crosby.
doing that
Yeah, we're
anymore.
gonna
Yeah,
get
we're gonna
Crosby,
go after
and not to
Crosby. And then they
mention,
were like, actually, we're not getting Crosby either.
yeah, but not even to mention all that, they still haven't extended Lamar. They still haven't gotten a deal done with him. Um,
And Lamar is historically, it's hard to negotiate with him.
yep,
The
that's a
last
big.
negotiating process was rough with them between Lamar and the Ravens organization. So it's going to be a little bit more of a wild ride, I think, continuing for the Ravens.
Yeah, man, they go from Super Bowl favorites to are they even going to make the playoffs? Um, but yeah, we can move on to the Panthers now. I feel like everything that's needed to be said about the Ravens is has been said. I
Yeah.
mean,
We have the Carolina Panthers. Bucky Irving's getting hit in the backfield. All right. They signed the edge, formerly out of Miami, goes to the Eagles for a little bit, got traded mid-season. They signed him to a huge deal, 4 years, $120 million. Um, he's dealt with some injury issues in the past. I hope that this works out for Carolina because I would like to see them be able to finally bring in that replacement for Brian Burns, who they lost a couple years back. I think Jalen Phillips can do that if he stays healthy. They also bring in Devin Lloyd and they brought in one more player from the Georgia defense that I cannot remember right now. But yeah, what are you thinking about the
man,
moves made by the Carolina Panthers?
Phillips is either going to be one of the best signings of the offseason or he's going to get injured very early and not be able to produce. He's just a very injury prone guy. I want to see him succeed, and I'm very excited if I'm a Panthers fan. So he's definitely an upgrade. They needed an edge. I thought that's where they were going to go in the draft this year. They don't. Maybe they go and get another one, but I mean, going out and paying 120 million dollars for Phillips makes me feel like they're not going to. But Devin Lloyd is the move I think really makes the Jalen Phillips move a little bit more worth, in my opinion. Devin Lloyd's probably the best off-ball linebacker in the league. At least he was last year, and they got him on a steal. I mean, 3 years, 45 million
Yeah,
for a talent like that, I feel is amazing. And a defense that has not been very good in recent years gets two huge pieces, and it looks like it's their division to lose at this point.
yeah. I share the same sentiment on Devin Lloyd. Obviously, I think he's a great player. I thought that he would pull a little bit more weight in free agency, maybe go to a contender. I guess, Carolina made the playoffs last year. Are they really a contender right now? I don't think so, but they're a solid team. And like you said, the division can easily be theirs. They also signed Super Bowl winning quarterback Kenny Pickett
Yep.
on a
Yep.
1 year deal. Um,
Big move.
Obviously Kenny Pickett's the GOAT. Yeah, you know, I don't know what else to say about Kenny Pickett. We know the story. Small hands and goes with the
Wears
Eagles for a little
gloves.
while.
Yep.
Yeah, wears gloves at quarterback. It
Yep.
just looks bad. But yeah, I think he'll be a solid backup. I mean, Bryce Young, I feel like is usually a pretty healthy quarterback, and so um, it's nice to have that backup there in place, and just in case something happens.
Yeah, I agree. But we can go on to the Bears. I feel like those were the really two big moves out of
Mhm.
Carolina. Stone Forsythe as well, who's I hope not their starting tackle. But yeah, we can go on to the Bears.
Yep.
And they,
Safety
yep.
Kobe Bryant is
Uh,
their big signing. The
man,
Seahawks fan, tell me how you're feeling.
I mean, great signing for them. He deserved a bag. He's such a great player. Really thought we were gonna get a deal done. Really sad that we didn't. Um, and that Chicago Bears defense only gets better. I mean, the Bears notoriously in recent history have just been great offseason moves. Ryan Poles has been making wonderful moves, and I'm sure that Ben Johnson just adds another great mind into the process of choosing who to sign and who to go after. So they go out and get a Super Bowl champion who was an integral part to that team and that Super Bowl run. Can't be too sad. He got a Super Bowl with us, but really wanted him to stick around. So
Yeah. Apart from Kobe Bryant, obviously they signed linebacker Devin Bush, who I would say is another one of the top linebackers in the NFL. They get him on a good deal for 3 years. I'm excited to see this Bears team. I know we had a debate on Coach of the Year, probably I think it was our first episode, and I've been super high on the Bears ever since this last season, seeing what their coach was able to accomplish with them in his first year and seeing Caleb Williams come along. I think that if that defense can really get a hold of itself and really start to play like one of the top tier defenses in the NFL, I think the Bears will be a dangerous team. I think Devin Bush will be a great field general type of linebacker for them this year.
it'll be very interesting to see which version of Devin Bush they get because um, that Browns unit was very good. Obviously had the rookie of the year and Carson Swessinger. um, Playing alongside him and JKO or Joe OK. I don't remember his name, but he medically had to retire. Um, but if they can get last year's Devin Bush, this unit is on a different level, I believe, especially with the addition of Kobe Bryant. So very interesting to see what they do, and the Bears are looking like offseason champs, like they always are. I
Hmm.
can't hit a field goal.
Dude, I think that might be the hardest part of Madden is the field goals.
It might be.
Um, yeah, I guess we can move down. They
Oh,
retain a couple of players.
they
Yeah,
also traded for Garrett Bradbury, which I mean Drew Dahlman leaving is huge. It's a big
yeah,
loss for them. And they go out and replace him pretty well. I feel like that's a
yeah.
can't get
I'd love to
Linderbaum.
see a
Don't have
team
the money
that
for him,
that
but
is able to like address those issues quickly
yep,
and not like do it in a bad way. Like they get a viable piece, not like some random center. They didn't pull somebody's backup. They get a real center that can start for them next year and that can really help that offensive line continue to be the line that we saw next year.
yep. They kept Case Keenum as well. Another decent backup. Braxton Jones, their left tackle or left or right tackle, I don't remember which, but he another great piece of that offensive line. So great continuity on, like I said, a unit that thrives when they have it. Um, so very interesting.
Bucky, what you think?
Another another offseason looking like the Bears are going to be praised for it. We'll just see if they can get it done in the playoffs this time.
Yeah. Here we have the Cincinnati Bengals coming up, a team that yeah, I mean, they let Trey Hendrickson walk. This team is historically known for drafting bad. They, other than a couple years back, whenever they were able to um, re-sign Jamar and T. Higgins, that in the same year, I don't think that they're very well known for getting much done in the offseason. They've made two signings, and I guess you could say there's some bigger names. They signed Edgeboy Mafe, who's a great edge rusher, to a 3 year $60 million deal, and safety Brian Cook to a very similar deal. Um, I like to see them addressing the defense here. Obviously, we know that's their weak point. Their offense is pretty sound. They need a little bit of help on the offensive line, but they have good pass catchers and a solid running back if they're able to. Has Chase Brown been re-signed yet?
I don't know if he's been re-signed,
Or-
but he hasn't left the team. They haven't said
Yeah,
anything about him moving
so
on from
it's
him
been
or
crickets
keeping with him.
ever
So,
since they announced that they wanted to sign him. It's been kind of quiet. So
yep, I agree. Boye Mafe went out and got a bag. We were not paying him that kind of money. Um, I hate to see him go. He's been here through really dark times as a Seahawks team, but hopefully he'll make that Bengals unit a little bit better. I do think it is a bit of an overpay. I don't think many other teams are going to pay
they're
him 60
compensating for
mil.
losing Trey Hendrickson.
100%, 100%. But Brian Cook is a pretty good signing. I feel like I feel like both of them are good signings, but Brian Cook definitely one of the worst secondaries in the league, coming over I think from Arizona, I believe. Um, so yeah, two really good moves. Two pretty good players. I just feel like if you're Cincinnati, you kind of have to overpay for some of these guys, and this is what we're seeing here. So
Yeah. We can move down to the Cleveland Browns, who have actually made. Oh wow! I just got Bradley Chubb has signed a 3-year deal worth 43.5 million with the Bills.
oh wow,
So that just happened. We're still getting news here, and is this the last day? This is day three of
day
free agency.
day
But yeah,
three, yeah, day three.
we'll go ahead. We'll keep moving with the Cleveland Browns. I have really obviously I don't see many huge splashes. Like there's no big skill players here, and there's no big names as far as your skill players and things like that go. But they have really beefed up that O line, and I think that that is great. I have been one of the biggest proponents of I don't think that Shadur is the starter for Cleveland. I don't think that he's going to be their franchise quarterback, but they seem kind of set on it, and I want them to put him in a position to succeed.
Yep,
Bring in someone that can catch the ball for him,
yep,
protect him. You know his weakness is that he runs around in the pocket too long. He's antsy and he gets sacked a lot. So bring in that protection, and if you really believe in him, give him what he needs. And I think they're totally giving him what he needs. They signed a great offensive guard in Zion Johnson, a good center, and then they trade for another offensive guard, someone that swapped between offensive guard and offensive tackle so he can move around that offensive line, and Titus Howard. I think that they've made some super good moves, and I'm very interested to see if this team can become relevant in the NFL again after so many dark years. We know that that defense has been elite, and it's been elite for a couple of years. Maybe we see that offense turn around here. They say they believe in Shadur, so let's see how it goes.
I will say I'm on the opposite spectrum of Zion Johnson. I thought he was one of the worst offensive linemen last year, at least from just maybe he was asked to do because he was on the Chargers. Maybe he was asked to do some things that he's not used to. Maybe the blocking scheme is different. Who knows? Maybe I'm wrong and he'll turn it around in Cleveland. But I really just I thought it was a massive overpay and such a Browns thing to do. I thought it was a terrible signing. Elton Jenkins is solid. They got him for decent money as well. Titus Howard as well. But I thought Zion Johnson was just I thought it was a terrible signing. They're addressing the need, which I agree they needed to do, but going out and getting that guy and paying him that kind of money, I just thought was another Browns moment. So maybe I'll be proven wrong. I'd love to be proven wrong. I think Browns the Browns need to be good at some point. So, but I thought that Zion Johnson was a big miss.
As long as Deshaun Watson's not the starting quarterback for the
Yeah,
Browns.
I agree. I agree. They also kept Ronnie Hickman as well, solid safety, and Tevin
Mhm.
Jenkins. So they're definitely trying to make the offensive line competitive. Um,
Yeah.
but I really just did not like that
Um,
Zion signing.
yeah, I think the moves that they have made so far in free agency kind of are telling about where they're looking in the draft. I think that it does seem like they might be looking towards wide receiver in the draft. They haven't really addressed that position at all in free agency. I I'm praying that they go with Carnell Tate. I think that's going to be an exciting move for them. But we can move on to Dallas, who has also made a couple of moves here in free agency.
Yeah, they went out and got Jalen Thompson, the safety, 3 years, 33 million. Pretty good safety for decent money. I mean, I don't know if you can. They need DBs, and he's a DB that was above average, so they went out and got him. They just traded for Rashawn Gary yesterday, another defensive lineman who can kind of play nose, play inside the gaps, play on the edge. He can kind of do what you need him to for a defense that just really needs anyone to help them out anywhere. Um, but they also franchise tagged um, George Pickens, as we remember.
Yep.
So we'll see if they can get an extension done with him. He's going to ask for so much money. I don't know how they're going to pay him,
Yep.
but
I honestly think that they might be better off waiting till next year to try and extend him to a long-term deal because I find it hard to believe that he's going to put up the same amount of production this upcoming year as he did this last year. And so maybe what's best for the Cowboys is to wait it out a year and definitely before you sign him to a long-term deal, kind of figure out where that attitude is at and where his
yeah,
work ethic is.
yeah, yeah, I agree. But they haven't really made many moves aside from
Yeah,
those.
nothing crazy so far for the
Nothing
Cowboys.
big. So we'll see. They'll
See
probably
who
make
go
some
down.
big trade or something in the middle of the season or before the season.
I hope they do something.
We know
Jerry's
Jerry.
always got something cooked up for
Yeah,
us. Jerry's
yeah,
always cooking up something. If it gets too quiet in Dallas, Jerry will blow it up.
yep.
Denver, we go down to Sean Payton and the Broncos. They have not signed anyone in free agency so far. They have retained some solid pieces and signed some people to long-term deals.
I think
The one
keeping
that sticks
JK
out.
was very big.
Yep, I think that was the right move. They announced that they were heading for a big splash, and maybe that was Kenneth Walker, Travis Etienne, and
Yeah,
I think honestly, just getting a guy like that wouldn't be what is right for the Denver offense right now. Sean Payton loves his tandem, and J.K. Dobbins and R.J. Harvey are just such a good one at that. So I think those players are. I think retaining him was the right move for Denver.
yeah. I really want to see them go out and get a wide receiver in the draft. It's a team that's just needed another option outside of Cortland Sutton. Spectacular catch every other play. Like they just need a different. I mean, Troy Franklin had over 100 targets or something ridiculous. I can't remember the exact number, but he had a crazy amount of targets. Um, so they really need. That's what I would be trying to go for if I'm them. Really thought they were going to go out and get like a Romeo Dobbs, and we'll talk about where he ended up going. But um, aside from that, really need to see them make a move before I'm moved on any of the things they've done and the retentions they've kept. But J.K. Dobbins is definitely a step in the right direction. Um, really interesting to me that they were trying to go out and get another guy in the running back in the backfield when they have the emergence of R.J. Harvey, who looked very explosive. Now I don't know how much of that production can be replicated, um, especially in that kind of offense with. But we'll see how their plays are called because Sean isn't calling plays anymore, right? He's not calling plays next year or something like that,
He
right?
said
Correct
that
me if I'm
he's
wrong.
relinquishing play calling
Relinquishing. Yeah, yeah,
abilities.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how the RBs are used. If Harvey can keep that production up, because he went on a tear towards the end of the year, especially with JK going down. But before that, JK was also just playing out. I mean, playing like he
Mhm. Great.
was pre-injury with the Chargers, you know. So
Interesting stuff going on there in Denver. We can move down. We can go to the Detroit Lions, who've made a couple of signings. I wouldn't say anything super splashy.
no,
Maybe a name that people will notice. Isaiah Pacheco signs a deal. They did not give any information on what the deal was, but he's definitely signed to the Detroit Lions. I think that's a solid piece to be behind
yeah, I agree.
Jahmyr Gibbs without. I mean, we know that Isaiah Pacheco, he's lost the juice with the leg injury. He went through a pretty difficult leg injury, but as far as play style, I think Isaiah Pacheco and Jahmyr Gibbs. What Isaiah Pacheco was before injury was a dollar store Jahmyr Gibbs, in my opinion. He was able to do all the same things. He runs super angry, super quick, very twitchy. He's lost that juice now, but at least if Jahmyr Gibbs were to go down or to miss some time, you have a running back that is some very, very small semblance of what Jahmyr Gibbs is.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like we could see a resurgence for him, at least career-wise. Maybe won't be hitting any like David Montgomery numbers, but definitely a solid replacement when they obviously like to use dual running backs. in their scheme. And I don't know who else they would have gone out and gotten that could really replicate what Monty did. I feel like this will be a pretty underrated signing. Cade Mays as well isn't bad, but once again, the Lions kind of need a lot of help on the offensive line,
Mhm.
so they'll pretty much take whoever they can get at this point. But Juice Scruggs, maybe they can get something out of him as well. Uh, but yeah, not much to write home about here on the Lions so far.
Yeah. Green Bay, another team that hasn't done a whole lot. They have traded for Zaire Franklin. They sign wide receiver Sky Moore, who is really just more of a return man, and they signed a cornerback in Benjamin St. Juste. I think that corner was a good move for Green Bay. I think that they could use a piece or two more on defense. I hope that they can get a defensive tackle here before free agency ends, or either in the draft. I would like to see them get a big run stop anchor there in the interior of that defensive line. Yeah, what are your thoughts?
Benjamin St. Just, obviously hasn't. Oh,
I
you
stop.
just stopped moving.
I think my controller just cut off.
um, but I think it was a solid move. Definitely one of the weaker parts of their team. Um, but going out and getting him, I don't know. Maybe they can get something
Yeah,
good
I
because
don't think it solves the issue. Like
no,
it
no,
definitely is a
definitely not. But definitely is trying. It feels like another. I don't want to say the Browns move, but a move that isn't, the flashiest or the best. But they're not paying him crazy amount of money, so I don't think it's that bad. But maybe they can get some more out of him. He was solid in the Commanders. He was okay, but definitely not who they thought he was going to be. Um, so maybe they can get something out of him when he's not asked to do as much. But Zaire Franklin, I felt like was a really good replacement for Quay Walker, and a unit that was really good last year. I feel like their front seven, obviously with Micah Parsons, was really good when he was healthy. So um,
Oh, I'm not gonna get a timeout off because my controller cut off. That's nice.
there you
There
go.
we go. I'll get one.
I got you.
Yeah. Sorry. Continue. I
But
interrupted
yeah,
you.
no, I feel like that. I still think that they're a favorite in the NFC. If they can stay healthy, I feel like they're a Super Bowl favorite. They're loaded from top to bottom. I feel like I've been saying this about them for a couple of years now. I don't know when it'll hit, but I predicted them to go to the Super Bowl last year. Maybe I was a year ahead. Um,
You're
but
never wrong. Just early.
yeah, that's right. That's right. So, but nothing else that really stood out to me. Um,
My controller's having some serious issues today. I don't know what's going on here.
oh, I got you locked up.
No, no, no. Come on,
Oh
Mike. Oh my.
my, oh my gosh. Oh,
There we
oh,
go.
thank the Lord. All
All
right,
right. Yeah, we can we'll
Texans.
move down to Houston. Yeah. Obviously we know they've done their big trade for David Montgomery. I think it was super interesting. They did release Joe Mixon kind of as a response to that. I think that David Montgomery probably takes over this backfield. I don't think that Woody Marks is really going to give him much competition. He kind of stays injured. Um, and I think that why is he spinning? What? Tez Johnson's
He's
tweaking.
he's a ballerina.
Yeah, but I like the David Montgomery move for the Texans. The Texans are a pretty complete team, I would say. They have lots of pieces. They should be one of the powerhouses of the NFL if it wasn't for their quarterback who kind of forgets how to throw every once in a while.
I'd say it's
What do you
also
think
their
about their
line
moves?
too, but
Yeah,
I get you.
they
He definitely regressed last year. Oh,
kind of get sacked. What
got
did you
you.
think about the moves, Helaman?
Reed Blankenship, great replacement in the secondary. That's a really old secondary they've got. So I think getting a younger option at a pretty cheap deal, who's been very productive as of late, great move. Braden Smith, we'll see how that turns out. Only 20 million though, so like nothing crazy. Wow, what a throw!
What a
What a
throw by
what
Baker.
a throw! Um, Montgomery, I feel like will take over the backfield, but I don't know if it'll be workhorse load, probably mix in some Woody Marks. We'll see. It feels like Nick Chubb also isn't going away quietly. But Danielle Hunter, keeping him for one year on $40 million extension with 30 million in a signing bonus. Um, they know how good he is, but man, that is a lot of money for 1 year. They also kept Ed Ingram for 3 years, 37 and a half. Kaimi 2 years. Dalton Schultz I thought was a great retention. Um, Veteran presence in the receiving room, especially when their receiving core just isn't healthy. Um, but yeah, I felt like those were the really notable moves and retentions. An elite unit continues to get elite, and we'll see how far they can go. I really don't.
My controller disconnected.
Uh oh.
Throw it away, Baker.
Uh oh. Uh oh.
That's awesome.
Third and
That was
32. No, you got this.
that was amazing right there. Well, I don't know what's going on. It's disconnecting like every 3 seconds. Give her a
Wonderful.
little fixer upper right there. We can move on to Indianapolis. As far as signings go, they have signed two people. They've signed edge rusher Arden Key and defensive lineman and interior defensive lineman Michael Clemens, both to multi-year deals worth a good bits of money. How are you feeling about these moves, Hillman?
Definitely upgrading their pass rush and their run defense is, I feel like, one of their weaknesses last year because they went out and addressed the DB situation in Sauce Gardner. Now he's obviously coming back off of an injury, but when he's healthy, we know how good he can be. Michael Clemens, I don't know much about him, but Arden Key I felt like was a solid edge rusher, a good depth piece next to Laiati Latu. I don't know how to say his name, but their rookie from a couple years ago. Um, I think he's going into his third year now. But the big move was Alex Pierce staying for 4 years,
Yeah, for
$116 million.
lots of money.
Lots of money. Um, Now he's there.
What do
I
you
mean,
what do you think about that? Like, what do you take away
uh,
from that? What can we
I
take away from that?
I don't think that he's worth $116 million, but I mean, if they believe in him that much enough to trade away Michael Pittman and really commit the wide receiving room to him being the number one guy, then I mean, sure. If I mean, they obviously know better, but from a viewer's perspective, I just don't see how that guy's worth $116 million. Um, and I'm
I also
very
don't
nervous to
see him as
see.
a like an alpha guy, and it seems like
Yeah, I
that's what
don't
they're
either. I don't
planning on him
either.
being.
I don't either. But maybe we'll be wrong and he ends up having a career year. But it makes me very nervous for how much Jackson Smith and Jigba is going to want. Um, if Alec Pierce is getting 4 years, 116 million, I am very nervous. Very
Maybe
very
that's why the
nervous.
Seahawks haven't done much yet
I
because
I
Jack
think that
Jigba
might
wants their whole
think that
paycheck.
might be why. I think that might be why. But also signing Daniel Jones 2 years, 88 million, so much money. That is so much money. Um, But I mean, he was balling out before he got injured. Um, so I guess they're running it back with this core. Ah
Yeah,
man,
it seems like
116 million. Ugh, man.
that the Colts might think that they have something much greater than it is. They seem like they're really buying into the guys that they have, and while I do think this is the right move for Daniel Jones and the Colts for him to just re-sign with the team, that's a lot of money. They paid a lot of money to Alec Pierce, and yeah, I mean, I think that they just want they're they're chasing those first 8 weeks of last year, and I don't know if they're going to be able to get that back.
Yeah, I agree. But I mean, we've seen crazier. The fact that Daniel Jones actually was playing like a starting level quarterback last year is
Guys, Sam Darnold won the Super Bowl last year, so
exactly. So anything can happen. But tying up what is that, over $200 million between two players that I feel are very average, very very mid. Um, I just don't know if that's a smart business decision. We'll see if it pays out if they go on a run again like they did last year. But
yeah,
that's a lot of money for two very average players to me.
yeah. Kansas City coming up next. This is one that a lot of people are excited for. Maybe not you so much, Hillman, because Kenneth Walker will be re-signing with the Seahawks. So not sure if you
Man,
were expecting him back or wanted him back.
yeah, really, really wanted him back. He's my favorite player
Yeah,
in the league. Um, was very glad he won the Super Bowl MVP, and just very sad that he left us. Really thought we were going to get a deal done. It seemed like he wanted to be here, but man, at the end of the day, he's going to play meaningful football somewhere else.
Yeah.
Hopefully, he can elevate that offense. And for
I
the man, from the Chiefs' perspective, this is
this has
this is
been
a
good.
home run. This is a home run. I mean, we saw how bad their run game was last year and how easy it was for defenses just to drop back into coverage and only rush four and just make Patrick Mahomes
Yeah.
do everything. Now that they actually have a real threat in the backfield, they'll have to actually make decisions on defense and actually have to sell out for the run and stuff like that. Oh my,
Bucky Irving, what the
oh
heck
my
was that?
gosh! I didn't even hit stick. He just got juked that bad.
He committed.
Oh my gosh, that was filthy. But
Wow.
yeah, Kenneth
I
Walker is going to elevate this offense to elite levels as long as he can stay healthy. And I thought Aloe Gilman was also a great signing. And I mean, we've seen them get rid of a safety and two starting cornerbacks, so they've basically got like a whole new secondary that's going to be coming in. And it
mhm,
feels like at 9 and 29, they're going to be picking. I mean, they're going to be picking a DB
DBs, yeah.
somewhere. So, well, it'll be interesting to see who they go after. Um, Travis Kelsey also stays for 1 year, 12 million. Tyquan Thornton stays 2 years, 11. Um, but yeah, I mean, if you're a Kansas City Chiefs fan, then you're very, very happy, and I am very, very sad as a Kenneth Walker fan. So
Yep. I another notable move I guess that we should probably mention is Travis Kelsey. I think that him coming back for 1 year, there was talks about him going somewhere else, and I was like, dude, I can't see Travis Kelsey with anyone but the Chiefs. Oh my, Mike
holy
Evans could break
cow,
his collarbone again.
oof.
Um, yeah, I can't see him anywhere else other than the Chiefs. He's he's almost out of juice, man. Like he's almost had it. He's
I
living in a
mean,
fantasy land with his hot wife and doing all of that kind of stuff, and so I don't know. I think this last year, hopefully he can give it something good and retire. I was fully expecting him to already be retired this year. So not I don't think it moves the needle that much as far as the outlook of the Chiefs season, whether he's there or not. But he is coming back for one more year.
feels very like last dance. Devonte Adams,
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers. But it feels like this is the year that they're gonna try to make a
Mhm.
real big push. It'll be interesting, and them letting go of both of their starting cornerbacks and Jalen Watson and Trent McDuffie. It's something that they've done in recent history. They let L'Jarius Sneed
Yep.
go after having a career year, so they obviously trust
Tyron,
themselves. Yeah, they obviously trust themselves to go out and draft a replacement or sign a replacement.
and they
Um,
always do.
they always do. I mean, that's why great teams stay great is because they can draft well and they know when to let players go. So I still think that them choosing years ago to pay Nick Bolton and what's the other guy, the other linebacker that they chose to pay over Trent McDuffie, I felt like that was a big blunder, but maybe they know something we don't. Um, Still, from a fan perspective, I don't know why you wouldn't have paid Trent McDuffie all the last year or the year before or got
Yeah.
an extension done, but they obviously know more than we do. They've won so many Super Bowls and looks like they might be a favorite this year.
Yeah. Moving on down to a team that a lot of people would say has had maybe one of the best free agency periods. Obviously, other than the stain of whatever's going on with Maxx Crosby.
Goodness gracious.
Um, I think at this point it might just be best for the Raiders to bring him back, but they have made some pretty good free agent signings so far. They had big issues on the offensive line, and they bring in a center and Tyler Linderbaum, maybe the best center in the NFL, if not one of the top three centers in the NFL. He gives him a bag that apparently the Ravens weren't willing to give. They signed the trio from Georgia, another one of these Georgia defensive trios, Quiddy Pay, Quay Walker, and N'Kobe Dean,
Yep.
all
Yep.
come in on super solid deals. Um, I mean, maybe I'm crazy. If after the addition of Fernando Mendoza, does this free agency period for the Raiders, does this kind of put them in a good spot to contend next year?
It makes me very excited. And it's all reliant on Fernando Mendoza. Obviously, it'll be how far he can take this team, but they're making all the moves that signals that this is their guy and they believe in him. And if he is what they believe that he is, then they have made all the right moves. They and Tom Brady knows this, and that's why he is so smart, unfortunately. But oh my goodness, he's gone.
Get out of the way, Barton!
Cody Barton, what a legend. Thank you, Duke legend. But these are the type of moves you make when you have a rookie quarterback on a rookie deal that you believe in and looks like the franchise guy, even though he hasn't even played a snap for him yet. But these are the moves that you
He's
make,
basically
and
theirs, yeah.
he's basically theirs. They're not trading him away. They haven't entertained any talks and trading away the number one pick. They're gonna get their guy. Um, and not to mention the moves that they have made in their front seven. And I mean, shoot, if Max Crosby stays, this team I think goes from playoff hopeful to maybe a
Yep,
contender if Mendoza is their guy. If he is that guy, um, very exciting. If I'm a
that would
Raiders fan,
be
they're finally back. The league is better
yeah,
when the Raiders are good. So very,
yep.
very exciting. And obviously, I want all the Seahawks guys like Kubiak to do well. So I will be rooting for them as well. I hope they do well.
Oh, I'm
But
getting
they kept
pummeled
Eric
back here.
Stokes as well. Um, Jalen Naylor, I think, was a solid signing. Good depth piece in the wide receiving room. But yeah, I'm very excited to see how this team plays out this year.
Yeah.
Hoping they can stay
Really,
healthy.
really, it seems like one of the last few things they're missing is just an elite wide receiver. I mean,
Yep.
you have Brock Bowers there who's going to do a lot, but
And
it'd
Genty
be
as
nice if
well. I
there was
mean,
someone. Yeah, they're kind of using everybody but their receivers to catch the ball at the moment.
this team could pop. I'm very excited to see if they do. Great throw. Great throw.
Finally caught something. Yeah, they had a couple of retentions as well. Some players of note. Eric Stokes stays. I
Yep.
think that he's a solid corner. He's been one of the bright spots of their defense, even when their
If they
defense
have
hasn't
any.
really had. And I say
Yeah, if they
even when their
have any.
defense is just like not bright at all. I think that was a good player to bring back for them.
Yeah, I agree. And Coos as well off the edge, I think is a solid pick. Keeping him. But we can move on to your team now, the Los Angeles Chargers. I'll let you
Go
go ahead and
Los
do your
Angeles.
spiel.
I've been mostly excited for the moves that they're making. Obviously, they're a team that needs some protection for Justin Herbert. We have plenty of pieces on the offense as far as skill goes with Lab McConkey, Omarion Hampton coming into his second year. Lots of youth and lots of things to look forward to. Aronde Gadsden even is a guy that I'm super excited to see in the Mike McDaniel's offense. Um, when you look at this list, they've brought in two offensive linemen, which is obviously what you want to see. Last year, there's a little bit of bad luck with the tackles. I think if you can just have them stay healthy, really the interior is where you want to focus for them, and that's what they've been doing so far. They bring in another blocking tight end in Charlie Kolar. Our Ravens friend is very obsessed with Charlie Kolar and also very sad that he's leaving. Um, he,
He's not
so
having a good time
yeah,
right now. He's
yeah,
not
he's
having
not
a
having
good
a
time.
good time. Yeah, I obviously all the retention is great. Trevor Penning is someone that I mean, they did trade for him last year, but I thought might be, slightly unnecessary. They bring back Vidal and Peterson. I think that, maybe just one of those guys would have been okay. You didn't really need both of them, especially if Harris is coming back. Dude, the field goals, man,
It's so
this is
hard.
terrible.
I need to figure out how to change it back to classic, man. I don't know how.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think that you just the name of the game is protect Justin Herbert. If you
Yep.
protect Justin Herbert this year, you're gonna be in the playoffs. I mean, even when you didn't protect Justin Herbert, you made the playoffs. He
Won
plays
11
through a broken
games and they
hand.
couldn't
Yeah,
protect
I
him.
mean, I think that they're a Super Bowl contender in my eyes next year if that offensive line stays healthy.
I agree. Especially with the addition of Mike McDaniel's running the offense. I mean, I felt like this is the type of moves that McDaniel's would want for an offense, especially in his run game.
Hmm.
Needs a blocking tight end, needs more help on the interior. If Joe Walt and Rashawn Slater, that's his name, if they can stay
Hmm.
healthy, this is a top tier offensive line. Um, and Justin
Absolutely.
Herbert finally might live up to all of his expectations that he's had over the years.
Please,
Um,
Justin, please.
very excited. They also kept Tier Tart, great DT. Um, Khalil Mack comes back on a 1 year, $18 million deal. So their defensive side of the ball. You lost Minter, of course, and that sucks, especially with how productive he made those players last year. But still very exciting. I think they're definitely a Super Bowl favorite coming into the next year.
Yeah. We'll move down to the other Los Angeles team. We have the Rams. We've already talked a little bit about their biggest move in trading for and extending Trent McDuffie to a
Yep.
4-year, $124 million deal. That is big
Yep.
money coming in from the Rams right there. Um, the Rams once again are going with that F them picks kind of mindset that's been working for them the last couple of years. Um, yeah, what are you thinking about these boos from Los Angeles?
I mean, the money Trent McDuffie got just means that just like how JSN is going to get paid more than Alec Pierce, he's going to get paid. Devin Witherspoon is going to get paid so much money. But a team that was knew its weakness was its DBs, went out and fixed that very handedly, basically swapping Kansas City's DBs in. Um,
Mm-hmm.
McDuffie and Jalen Watson, I mean, they just become such a complete team. They also kept Cam Curl as a safety and Tyler Higbee. I'm very upset that they are a great run franchise. They're making great moves, and I'm very sad. I feel like this is reminiscent of when they went all in to go and get um, Jalen Ramsey all those years ago when they won that Super Bowl. Feels just like
Kind of what it
that.
feels like.
And the Super Bowl's in SoFi, so they're definitely trying to win it at home and not have a
Yeah.
49ers repeat where they couldn't get it done.
Oh,
What a pick.
a little bit of life
A
for
little bit of
Tampa.
life. Oh, he's gone. Big boy's
He's
not
got some
catching him.
wiggle. He's got some
Yeah,
wiggle.
big boy's not catching him. Blocking the back, ref? What are we looking at? But yeah, no. The Ravens, they're probably the most complete team in the league right now. Um, I mean, shoot, they might trade up and go and get Jeremiah Love at this point. I don't know, but that would be
Feds.
nasty. That would be nasty. But great moves by a great franchise. It's gonna be exciting next year. It's gonna be exciting.
Yeah. Miami getting down into the Sunshine State here in Florida. Been kind of quiet actually for Miami. They make the big splash of Malik Willis and just a couple of other, moves that are more of depth pieces. But Malik Willis is really the talking point here. Obviously, a quarterback who flamed out at his original location or his original team and goes to Green Bay and becomes a solid backup receiver. We see him show out in some games, and he ends up making himself a little bit of money with the Miami Dolphins. How do you feel this is gonna like change this Miami offense? Do you feel like this is something that is really gonna work out? I'm a little skeptical.
I'm very skeptical. I don't know. I mean, he obviously looked very solid with the Packers, but it's on such a limited snap count that I don't know if paying him this much money is a wise decision. Um, and I feel like the reason they haven't made much other free agency moves is because they had to
Because
take
oh,
that
to
99.
$100 million.
Yeah, they had to pay $100 million to Tua. So when you're paying a guy like Malik Willis 67 million, and then you also have to pay Tua to leave your franchise, it's going to be hard to make moves.
Mhm.
But I don't know how I feel about it. I really it's some continuity with Jeff Halfley being from the Packers
Yeah, I think
organization,
that's
and
what brings you hope, I guess, if you're a
yeah,
Dolphins fan, that it might
yeah.
work.
So I
Is
mean,
I looking at, his 3 games that he did play, and obviously he's coming in as a backup, so maybe they're altering their playbook a little bit for him. He never threw more than 21 passes, and I believe
yep.
the other 2 games he played was
But
like 19 attempts and 16 attempts.
but is that like a product of him, or is that a product of the Packers just running the ball a lot? Like
The
I feel
Packers
like
do love to run the ball.
so, and they definitely made him a smarter decision maker. Um, but
Yeah,
I
that's
think
before
that
it was.
I think he could show some flashes. Jalen Waddle should do well, and Devon Achane should produce as well. So I mean, I don't hate the move. It was very telegraphed. Um, kind of felt like everybody knew that's what he was going to do, but
Yeah, everybody's saying that he might end up in Arizona.
I
We
could
should
have
have
seen
known.
that. Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
could have seen that, but nah, this made more sense going back to a coordinator that he was just playing with. So
Yeah, we
Also
can.
kept also
We
kept the goat Greg Dulcich, my favorite tight end in
yes.
the league. So that's
There we
exciting.
go. Minnesota, lots of retention here, not a lot of signings, but they do sign cornerback James Pierre, a solid piece for their defense. I think the storyline that I looked at most was just Aaron Jones. I've been really trying to pay attention to what the Vikings do with that running back room, who's going to be the guy there. It's been one of the things that's interested me most this offseason is what the Vikings are going to do with that running back room and obviously JJ McCarthy. But I think that Aaron Jones, I think he has a little bit of juice left in the tank. I think that signing him to a 1 year deal and giving him the 5 million is a safe move for Minnesota. I would like to see them have some kind of plan other than Aaron Jones. Obviously, they cut their other running back before the free agency period. He was released. Um, so yeah, how are you feeling about the moves coming out of Minnesota?
I mean, they don't have much cap to work with. Their defense costs quite a lot. They've got a lot of money tied up into their tight ends. So can't really expect too much out of them.
Mhm.
But we'll see what they do. I would love to see Kyler Murray end up here. I think that would really alter their franchise's path and put them on a better timeline, especially with how they ended the year. They went on a little run and ended up kicking the Lions out of the playoffs pretty much.
Mhm.
So I think it'll be interesting to see if Kyler Murray does end up going here. That's where I would really hope for him to go, um, fantasy wise and oh, I thought you blocked it. Fantasy wise and just for the league. But
Yeah.
New England,
Well, yeah, New England, they make the big move with Romeo Dubs. I This is another team kind of like the Bills where I was hoping they would make a bigger move at wide receiver. There wasn't a ton of options to choose from. It was kind of limiting in that factor, but I think that Romeo Dobbs will be a good piece here in this offense. You know, you get somebody for Drake May to throw deep to and kind of open up the offense a little bit more. You know, without Stephon Diggs, they need somebody in there to command some eyes, to command some targets, and Romeo Dobbs, he hasn't exactly done that in Green Bay, but I think that he's coming into a situation where he can. Obviously, Matt Collins is a bajillion years old and he's got like rat suits on, so I think there's
yeah,
some.
he's got
I think he
something.
can.
That's CTE, man.
Oh, yeah, he's got something going on there. But yeah, I think that that was a good move for them. They make a couple
A
other
lot of
moves
money,
with,
man. That's a
yeah,
lot of money.
Elijah Vera Tucker. I think is a good offensive guard for them. You know,
He
continue
was
to.
my favorite guard left on the market, so I feel like that's a great move.
Yeah, I think this allows them as well to leave Will Campbell at offensive tackle and maybe give him another chance to develop there instead of just moving him in. Um, I don't know, maybe you don't want to do that to hurt your rookie's confidence. You want him to succeed and you want him to be able to perform at tackle. And we saw in the playoffs that was a little bit of a struggle for him, whether that
Yep,
was his injury or his short arms. Um, we're gonna see next year how this team really looks there. The number one rated strength of schedule. So all of the schedule doubters from this last year,
we'll see if they were right.
we'll see what happens. Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll
we'll
see what
see if they
happens.
were right. And they also went out and got Draymond Jones, good edge rusher from I think he was playing with Baltimore, who signed him middle of the season. They also got Kevin Byard on a 1 year $9 million deal, kind of prove it if you still got it, old man kind of deal. Um, so I mean, I feel like they're defensively they a unit that was pretty solid, got better.
Mhm.
Definitely good enough to go to the Super Bowl. So I'm
Christian
very
Gonzalez
great
has been
moves.
training with Caleb Downs this offseason. Now, is Caleb Downs
Ooh,
going to fall to New England?
no,
I don't think so.
he's falling to
But
us. He's falling to us.
yeah, uh, that'll be interesting. That's a good person for Caleb Downs to learn from. He's already a great player, so I think that'll be fun. We can they retain Tommy DeVito for anybody who wants to
Who
know.
cares?
He's more of like a commercial guy now,
Yeah,
so
who cares?
we
That
can
guy's
pass on
terrible.
that. New Orleans, this is another team that I've been pretty excited about. We talked about the Atlanta Falcons earlier. Caden Ellis walks and he comes to New Orleans. I really liked that move for New
Mm-hmm.
Orleans with Chase Young. Seems like he's finally coming into himself. You know, it's taken him a while to get to this
that number
point,
one
he
overall
yeah,
value
that number one overall
or
value,
whatever.
and
Yeah.
he's slowly getting there. Finally coming into his own, and you have Caleb Ellis coming in. I'm excited for this defense. I'm excited for this Saints team overall. You have Travis Etienne coming in. Um, Seems like Alvin Kamara might be being forced out here a little bit. Um, I think that Travis Etienne is obviously the better player now. Maybe
Now,
a
yeah,
couple
for
years
sure.
ago we would have said very differently, but um, the Saints, I mean, they're making moves. They're a team that I think will definitely compete in their division next year. They're a team that has a shot, and I don't know. This and the Raiders, they've got me super excited here with their offseason moves.
Yeah, I really like Travis Etienne now. If you're high on him in fantasy, I don't know if I would be that high on him. Kellen Moore doesn't typically use his RBs in the receiving game much, but maybe that changes. But
Yeah,
great moves. Very excited, and I feel like Shuck will take them as far as they can go. Kellen Moore, great offensive mind. We talked about this before, so good moves. Excited for Travis Etienne and this offense to see what they can do.
yeah, he made himself some money.
And then here's a team that made plentiful moves. The New York
Yeah,
Ravens, I mean
this is pretty
Giants.
long.
Um, I mean Isaiah
Yeah,
Likely, Tremaine Edmonds. I feel like was a great signing. They went out and even just stole the Ravens punter and Jordan Stout. Um, Greg Newsome, I felt like was a pretty good deal, especially um, in the DB room that has been very depleted for New York. Ricard, they even took the fullback Ricard, Ardarius Washington, ex-Raven as well, came over to the Giants. And Greg Newsome the second. I don't know how those aren't the same people. That's weird. But they kept. I feel like their best signing and best retained this free agency period was Jermaine Elomuner. I don't know how you say his name. 3 years, 39 mil. I felt like was a really solid deal for a tackle of his caliber. So that's been my favorite move of theirs so far.
correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like the Giants have a lot of hype going into next year, and for some reason, I feel a little bit more positively about the Raiders and the Saints than I do New York.
Oh,
I don't
me
know
too.
what's putting
Most
me off
definitely.
about it, but the oh my gosh, please catch
He's
that
so
mic.
goaded.
Thank you.
He's so goaded.
Yeah, like you said, they've made some good moves. I still feel like there's some things that are gonna have to be addressed in the draft, but we'll see if they make it
Yeah.
to those things. We're
Yeah,
running out
let's
of
move it
time. I don't
quick.
know
Let's
how
move it
many.
quick
Yeah, I
here.
don't
We'll
know
go
how many more
through.
teams we have.
We got about seven. We'll go through the Jets. I mean, I feel like Demario Davis, great signing. That was probably their best signing so far. And they also went out and got Geno Smith for pennies on the dime. So they ended up writing back. Um, uh, or he ended up writing back, I guess. So he's on the team
Oh,
now. But they also got Minka Fitzpatrick, 3 years, 40 mil. Um, I mean, that defense, Aaron Glenn's looking
mhm.
like he's trying to make, trying to save his job in these types of moves. But did you have
Yep.
any other kind of thoughts there? Brees Hall got franchise tagged.
Yeah, I mean that was I think the thing for me was just the Brees Hall franchise tag. I feel bad for the guy. He'll never get out of New York. I think he's destined to stay there.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we can go to the Eagles, who just went out and got um,
I'm
Reek
Tristan
Woolen.
Wirfs.
Oh my goodness, go, go, go. Tariq Woolen on a 1 year deal for $15 million. I feel like this is just such a steal for the player that he is, that he can be. How he went out and got his outside cornerback. I feel like he's one of the best pure pass coverage cornerbacks in the league, and they got him for nothing essentially. A great deal. Howie Roseman does it again. Really wish he stayed with the Seahawks. Jordan Davis went out and chose him over Jalen Carter, which I'm very surprised about. I figured they would have gone and extended Jalen Carter before Jordan Davis, but Howie Roseman is a genius, and I'm not going to fault him for stuff that I don't know. So, any thoughts there about those two moves? Those are really the big moves they've made.
No, I also I think just the Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter thing was interesting, but you kind of summed up my thoughts as well. We could move to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Went out and got
They
Michael
trade
Pittman.
for Michael Pittman. Yeah, I think this is a solid piece to have next to DK Metcalf. I don't think he's gonna be transforming your offense or anything like that, but he's definitely a solid piece to have on the other side. And I think last year it was just so easy for teams to neutralize DK Metcalf because there was no one else on that offense to worry about, and Aaron Rodgers can only throw it 5 yards downfield because he's
Yeah,
80,000 years old.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, they also signed Jamal Dean and Rico Dowdle. Um, they let Kenny Gainwell walk, which I thought they were definitely keeping him just because of how much Aaron Rodgers liked him, but they signed Rico Dowdle. Dowdle may get the chance that he was looking for to be a bell cow. There's not. They have the last year's rookie Caleb Johnson, might can peek into this offense a little bit, but I
I
think
highly doubt it.
no,
Doesn't feel
yeah,
like
it
it.
doesn't feel that the Steelers really feel that way. So, what do you think?
I mean, Michael Pittman, I felt like, I mean, sure, help out DK, I guess, but they're the same archetype of player. Neither of them can create
Mhm,
separation. They're just deep ball guys. I just, it's typical Steelers move. I don't get it. You could have had this type of wide receiving room if you had kept George Pickens. I mean, obviously not to the same effect. George Pickens is much more dynamic, but
mhm,
in terms of archetypes of players, you have this again, and I don't like it. I don't like it. It's such a Steelers move. Jamel Dean, best cornerback I think on the market. Great move for them there. Rico Dowdle, I feel like a great move for great money. Very little investment for what could turn out to be their best running back in their whole RB room. Kept Cameron Hayward, Steeler lifer there. I don't think he's gonna retire a Steeler. He's definitely not ending up anywhere else. So, Sante Samuel also FSU legend. Um,
let's go.
but
Yeah, we'll move down
move on to
to
the
San
40
Fran.
winders.
Obviously,
You know,
they
Mike
signed
Evans.
Mike Evans. I wanted him to stay in Tampa Bay, but I think he's looking for a place that he feels he can contend here late in his career. Um, as far as the electrical substation goes, I don't know how good of a move this was for Mike Evans. He already has injury issues, and we don't know if the substation is gonna, tear his ligaments and hamstring
Yeah,
apart.
man. I want to contend. Let me, an injury prone wide receiver, go to the most injury prone team in the league. That makes a lot of sense, Mike. I don't get it. I don't know why you had to go there. You had it made in Tampa. I really don't get it. I just
Yeah,
sure, man. Whatever. They're not gonna do anything. It'll be when he gets injured. It'll be another excuse for them. They go out of the playoffs in the first round or whatever. Yeah, it just doesn't move me. I don't get it.
yeah,
Such a Baltimore Ravens type of move. You know, they go out and get an old
yeah.
wide
I
receiver.
was, I was kind of thinking that we might see him in Baltimore.
That's where I thought he would have ended up if he left. But went to the Niners. That's really the only move I really care. I don't want to talk about this team. I don't want to
Yeah.
talk about them. They
Well,
didn't
I'll
do
let
anything
you
aside
take
from
the
that.
reins on your team here.
I mean, I feel like we kept Josh Jobe and Drake Thomas on great deals, multi-year deals for great money. I feel like these were kind of Mike's guys towards the end of the year, and if you watched any Seahawks football, they really were the driving force. I mean, the reason we didn't pay Tariq Woolen is because Josh Jobe was on the field for half his snaps. They were splitting snaps, and I mean, if he if he thinks that Josh Jobes is more capable of being that one of those outside guys, then I'm not going to argue with him. Um, but Rashid Shaheed on 51 million dollar deal over 3 years, 17 mil a year. I feel like is pretty solid for a wide receiving too, especially with how the market is. I mean, Romeo Dubs getting 80 mil and Alec Pierce getting 116. I felt like that was pretty solid. Definitely a trade that turned the corner for us, made our special teams unit from good to elite. So great move. I really liked it. Just really wish we had kept K9. I would have rather paid K9 over Reek, but over Rashid. But I get it. It's time to move on. New era. Whatever, man. I guess. I guess
Yeah.
we got three more
We'll leave it at that
teams.
for Seattle. Yeah, we'll go to Tampa. They haven't done much. They signed Kenneth Gainwell, which I thought was very interesting because you have Rashad White there with Bucky Irving. And obviously, we don't know off the field things going on with Bucky Irving that kind of happened towards the end of the year. Maybe they're just bringing Kenneth Gainwell as an kind of an insurance policy. But he's a capable running back, and he'll definitely be able to sub in for whatever goes on with Bucky Irving, whether he's playing this upcoming year or not.
And
Kate Otten
Anzalone
being
was,
retained. Yeah,
yeah,
I I don't know. I kind of want them to go for Sadiq in the draft if he comes to
yeah.
15, and maybe make your blocking tight end if you can make that happen. If he's not a very good blocker, maybe he can develop, or maybe you draft somebody else in that spot. But
But maybe
I thought
it's
that
maybe
Kate
it's
Sadiq,
league talk. Maybe it's league talk that he's not going to be there at 15. You know, who
maybe,
knows?
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, solid signing so far. They haven't really
hmm
done anything. But
Tennessee was up the board.
a team that has done quite a lot. Um, the Titans, man. Wandell Robinson reuniting with Dable, becoming the number one guy there for Cam Ward. A lot of money. It feels like very shades of Alec Pierce. Like, is he is he a number one kind of guy? Who knows? John Franklin Myers, who used to play under Sala, great D tackle, coming in for huge deal. Alante Taylor, 3 years, 60 million. Cordell Flott, 3 years, 45 million. They're really shoring up their DBs. Daniel Bellinger,
Yeah, they had some money to spend, and they spent that.
they did. I mean, Daniel Bellinger coming over from the Giants as well. Um, Tommy Townsend as well. I mean, this is they're making a lot of moves for their rookie quarterback, and I hope it works out for them. I feel like John Franklin Myers was a great signing. Wandale is getting paid number one type of money, so we'll see if he can be a number one. And Alante Taylor and Cordell Flott were great signings as well, so that should definitely shore up their secondary.
Yeah. Down to Washington, who another team that's made a couple of moves here in
And
free
this is our
agency.
last team too.
Yeah, I I really like the Odafe Oweh signing. I wish that the Chargers were able to make it work, keeping him there. I think that Odafe Oweh is a fine above average edge rusher. You know, he kind of had one of his better stretches after he got with the Chargers this last year, and something whatever was going on when he was at the Ravens, it just wasn't working out, and the Chargers were able to get a little bit of work out of him. I thought that they would maybe want to bring him back, but instead they keep Khalil Mack, and
$100 million.
Odafe walks over to the yeah to the
Quite a lot.
Commanders for $100 million.
Yeah.
So they definitely are invested there. They must believe pretty heavily in him. I will say I like just the fact that they seem to be going a little bit younger than they have in past years. Obviously, they've been going for like these old, almost retired players
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
in this last off season, and they get a little bit younger this year, and I like that.
Especially with Leo Chanel leaving the Chiefs, going out and getting paid 3 years, 24 mil. I mean, um, I feel like both of those moves alone at least makes that defense somewhat competitive again. Really need to address the DB issue, and that's probably where they'll go in the draft. If not, well, we'll see. Maybe they go. They went out and got a linebacker, so maybe they don't go Sonny Styles or Arvell Reese. Maybe they
Yeah,
do end up going DB.
maybe they go Jeremiah Love.
Maybe they go to Jeremiah Love. I mean, no competition there. But they kept Traylon Burks, who made that insane catch against the Broncos, Riley Moss. So um, it'll be interesting to see what I do. I just got away with a massive holding call. How
Get
did
in
you
there,
do that?
Mike.
How did you do? How did you do?
Alrighty, well, we had to rush there a little bit at the end, but I think hopefully y'all were able to capture the point. And obviously, not every team has finished their off-season moves yet, but up until day three of free agency, like we said, we're recording on March 11th, around 4 o'clock. So the league year just
We
started,
actually
and
just got a
people are
notification about Baltimore and Crosby. It says that
yeah,
let's see, Crosby. Prior to pulling out of the Max Crosby trade, Baltimore discussed renegotiating the terms with the Raiders to mitigate the risk because of his injury, and then they just ended up axing it.
hype. Go Baltimore. They're gonna say a lot of stuff with this, but yeah, we discussed it. We'll see how everything turns out with all of this, all the free agency stuff. Obviously, wherever Max Crosby does go is going to churn up the free agency field once more, and there's going to be some reactionary moves to that. So we'll see how it goes. But we're thankful to be here. Glad everybody was able to tune in. Anybody that listened, we are grateful for your ears, and we hope that you were able to take a little bit from this, hear our opinions and what we think about everything that's going on for agency. Obviously, we love talking football, so we'll see you again here next week, Helaman.
Yep. See you next time.